The one activity is called how we do. The second activity is called how we have to do. The difference between how we do and how we have to do. Or in other words, what we want to do and what we have to do. We will be able to understand the difference. Gradually, our activity will be shifted from the first to the second. In Sanskrit, the first is called krutam. The second is called kratu. The first means labor for remuneration. The second word means ritual. The one activity is labor for remuneration. The second activity is what is called ritual. It is symbolized by ritualistic gatherings. You know how it is symbolized. There will be rituals conducted for 7 days or 3 days or sometimes 12 days. People come there. Automatically they make arrangements for people who come there. Everyone brings what he has with him. They pull down everything there. And all these 7 days they have plenty to eat and drink. They have everything comfortable. They lead a life of community for 7 days. They live in the holy awareness of God for 7 days and they disperse. The moment they go home, they have once again the obligatory duty, labor for remuneration. Is it not the same food that they were eating in 7 days? Physically and chemically, biochemically, it is the same food. But spiritually, it is not at all the same food. The difference is what is called consecrated. It is the result of their work and not at all an accepted remuneration. Everyone works, but he knows that it is not for remuneration. All people bring everything there. From all these things combined, they prepare the food. The spirit differs, and that is what is required. It is not the detail of the activity that differs. What makes ritual is your spirit of doing it. If there is a spirit of remuneration, it is labor. If there is a spirit of offering, it is ritual. And any good act can be ritualized to get ourselves trained from labor to ritual. This is what is called worship. This is the meaning of temple service. What for we worship God? What for we go to the temple or church and pray for God? Is it for God? Poor God, he feels lonely if we do not pray. For our growing awareness to God, we pray, not for God. We are not offering prayers for the benefit of God. It is all a training to transform the spirit of our work in the world. We have many defects and shortcomings in our daily routine, and our ritualization of work should neutralize all the sin of what we do. You know, there is what is called the domestic ritualistic activity in Indian tradition. An offering, a daily offering to the Deva is an ordained duty of a householder. When we are living in a village or a town or a city, it is our duty to worship God, not only in the church or temple, not only on the man-made altar, but to worship God in the form of the air around us by not creating some stinking, nonsensical smells, by keeping cleanliness around ourselves, and by doing something like incense. It is called ritual worship of God in the form of air. We are expected to make our offerings to the God in the form of water. That is, keeping clean the water which we use and others have to use. And also our ritual to the earth, that is, keeping our house and environment and surroundings clean. not an enforced cleanliness, but if we do it a voluntary cleanliness, it is called a ritualization of the daily routine. And then while we are walking, many insects are dying under our shoes. In what way they are responsible? We, the advanced souls, much advanced in evolution than insects, have we not some duty towards them? That is what the scriptures say. So, by way of our mental purification, we are expected to offer some floor of cereals, which in India they make in the form of designs before the compound. And wherever there is a little altar in the house, we are expected to clean it daily and make beautiful designs with rice flour. Ants and insects come and take the grain. This is called one type of ritual. And then when we care for our dog and cat in the house, it is another type of training to ritualize our work. This is the way in which we are expected to train ourselves, ritualizing our activity. And then Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, see how the clouds rain and our seeds are germinated on this earth. Does the cloud anything to have from us? Are we in a position to help the cloud or remunerate it? But still the cloud rains. See how sunshine helps us, gives life and invigorates us. In what way it is obligated to us? Are we in a position to help the sunlight in any way, or to remunerate the sunlight for what we have received? Why sunshine is behaving like that? Why the showers of the cloud behave like that? Why the seed germinates and multiplies into 10,000 seeds each? It is its nature, and this nature is imbibed in every atom by the Creator Himself, who is the seed of all this creation. He has given this formula of seed and germination in every seed of every species on this earth. Why He does it? Because He is not in no way obligated to us. And then what is our duty as a student of spiritualism? If we have a bag full of seeds with us, if we throw some seeds on the soil, then once again we have each seed giving 10,000 seeds. But suppose we eat away all these seeds without throwing on the ground. Tomorrow we have to die. Understand your work for others as a seed. Understand, by doing something to others, wherever you have no obligation to do, you are throwing the seed in the right soil. And good work is being multiplied 10,000 fold. It is due to such an activity of the Devas that we are living on this earth. Honor the Devas by your own behavior of imitating their spirit of work. Honor the Devas by your own way of imitating the Devas in the spirit of your work. This is what is called ritual. It is also called sacrifice. And then what is due to you will be given to you. Then it is called consecrated by God. If you work for remuneration, the remuneration you get is not at all consecrated, because it is self-conditioned. So a true student of spiritualism is expected to get a transformation, a complete transformation from remunerative work to ritualistic work. This is what is called ritual in its true sense. We have many types of rituals conducted, for example, Freemasonry, etc., but the import is the same. It is only to train ourselves into the real ritual of our daily routine. When the daily routine is completely ritualized, then it is called God's work. Then it is called temple worship. There comes a time in our maturity when our life is totally offered to the service of the Lord. Then only we will understand that the Lord is existing in the form of so many people around us. We will learn how to speak to Him through these tongues, and we begin to listen to His voice through these tongues. This is what is called ritual. It is one of the master keys for spiritualism. The result of ritualization of life is all liberation, no self-conditioning, no fear, no anxiety, no anger, no jealousy, no possessive instincts. Just living as a boy or a child lives. With all the maturity you have, you will live as joyfully as a child. This is the concept of ritual, the result of which is eternal joy and bliss, which is called liberation.
Eine Frage gerade schon vorgetragen.
It is a thing that happens to everyone, not only yourself, at some stage or other. It is one of the procedures of nature to teach us something through its mystic language. That means our plan should be respected when we lose our glamour towards our plan. Until then, nature contrives every time a disappointment. The moment the mind finds no difference between the two types of work, there will be no such tension and no such opposition at all. Until then, nature goes on creating obstacles. This is the spirit of it, and it is a thing which everyone experiences and everyone has to cross. Certainly, the moment the grip in our mind is totally loosened, yes, we can propose something, nothing wrong about it, but when something comes on the way, as long as we feel the tension of it, the cause of tension exists. The moment we begin to feel no difference between the two types of work, that is the work we proposed and the work that others untimely proposed to us. From the moment our mind finds no difference between the two types of work, such things never exist, because it is what nature expects of us. And it becomes more prominent when we enter into the spiritual path. If, as long as one believes in it, one is allowed to experiment with his own beliefs and find out the truth of it. That is what the scriptures say. That the hat which is fixed to my head is different from the hat which fixed to your head. And the truth you believe and begin to experiment shows at every step solution to you. The truth which I believe and I proceed gives solution to me. That is how the creation is made. The nature has created me to believe and experiment with this, and you to believe and experiment with that. That is the truth of it. One can have individual paths to reach the rhythm, but one cannot have individual rhythm. Rhythm is universal, whereas the path may differ from person to person. But the awareness to reach the rhythm should be there. It leads everyone to the same rhythm. Everyone can make an approach according to his station of life. For example, a businessman can make a ritual of his own business. An employee can make a ritual of his employee life. Both begin to live in the same rhythm. It is only the approach that differs from person to person. But the one rhythm is universal. In that, all of us begin to exist. One need not follow exactly the same detail which others follow. But it is enough if one is sincere and pure to check out his own ritual. When you are sincere and open-minded, your activity automatically will be rhythmic, and it need not tally with the minor detail of others. the awareness should be there and the attitude should be maintained, all the rest automatically follows. The rhythm is not to be enforced by anyone. It is an unfoldment from within yourself that begins to take place like the blossom of a flower. A person having shift work, he need not observe the same time and same hour for his prayer or meditation. He should find the rhythm in the existing work he has. Because when one reaches the stage of ritualist in his mind, he will discover that his activity is God-given. When the grip of the mind is given up, automatically his environment and his type of work will undergo a change, if at all it is required. And he is not bothered if it changes or not. He finds rhythm in the same type of activity because it is not self-proposed. Nothing wrong if he cannot observe the normal type of regularity. The moment the sincerity is there, automatically nature places him in a better position. When there is no struggle in the mind, immediately the environment is rearranged. That is always a truth with nature. That's true, but it is the setup of the government or the administration that is responsible, and it is not the individual who is responsible for it. Therefore, one has to accept mentally, and when totally the struggle from the mind is removed, immediately his work and his environment undergoes a change. Because the inconvenience outside is only a symbol of some struggle inside. This is an infallible truth in nature. Those who feel the joy and taste of it have the necessity to go to the group worship and temples. Others have no necessity to go there. It is their taste and their level of evolution that decides the necessity. Even though one goes and attends artificially, before he attains the evolution enough to feel the good taste of it, there is no use at all. Those who voluntarily attend, they feel the taste of it, and they can never be stopped. That's the truth of it.